Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day. And you can see I'm wearing my hat and I've got my body warmer on because it's cold today. It's cold in the northeast, just like the northeast hottest striker is ice cold in the shape of Alexander Isak. A brace yesterday, a brilliant bit of centre forward play, fantastic winning the penalty, great finish for the second goal. And it prompted everyone to talk about Alexander Isak in a great light. Again, I think he's chasing down Salah and Haaland as the top Premier League goal scorer. And he is the best centre forward Newcastle United have had since Alan Shearer. There's no doubt. He's now officially the second highest Premier League goal scorer behind Alan Shearer, to which point Alan said maybe he'll get a 9.5-year contract. He might beat Alan's Premier League goal scoring record. We can only hope, Alan. We can only hope. But there's a lot of people interested in Alexander Isak, and some people, I would say, it's borderline obsession with Alexander Isak, and they're not Newcastle United fans. No, they are Sky Sports, and it's getting absolutely ridiculous. It really is. We've done more than enough videos on Sky Sports' obsession, desire to sell Alexander Isak to anybody but the club he fucking plays for, and that is Newcastle United. And they were at it in ridiculous levels yesterday once again. And it wasn't even anything to do with them covering the game. They weren't even in the studio, against the team that Newcastle are playing with nobody who represented Newcastle as they normally do, and talking about how Alexander Isak's a world-class centre forward and should be playing for them instead of us. It wasn't that at all, no. This was courtesy of Sky Sports Soccer Saturday, I think it was. So I wasn't watching Sky Sports Soccer Saturday, but we've all seen the clip, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So they went to the roving reporter, who I believe is Mark McAdam, and went to him when Alexander Isak scored the second goal, which was a fucking brilliant goal, I must say. It really, really was. A brilliant through ball by Jacob Murphy. He took it so well. That touch, if any young centre forwards are watching football, Shearer said there's a match today as well, watch Alexander Isak's first touch. It takes the defence out and the goalkeeper out, and he's just one-on-one with the keeper, and he finishes with aplomb. Certainly he's not done a lot this season, but he finished so well. And Mark McAdam decided to use that little moment there when the camera went to him. The first thing out of his mouth wasn't Southampton, wasn't Newcastle United. It was fucking Arsenal Football Club. And it's pathetic. It's absolutely ridiculous. It really, really is. He's been battered on social media for it, and rightly so. Now, I'll pause there for a second. Battered on social media, yes. Don't need to abuse the man personally. I don't agree with that. But obviously, people have rallied to his defense. Some of his colleagues, Keith Daniel. I love Keith to bits. We all love Keith. I think anyone who stops and talks to Keith in the Northeast is a fantastic bloke. He's been on this channel before. And obviously, Keith's going to stick up for his colleague there. But even Luke Edwards, who I don't see eye to eye with pretty much ever, had a go at him on social media, and I couldn't agree with Luke Edwards more. If I tried, I can't even believe I'm saying that. But he had a go at Luke Edwards back, did Mark McAdam, because he's a bit feisty and he wasn't having any of that shit. He was saying live TV is live TV. I'm sorry, Mark. You know exactly what you're fucking doing there. And it's the same thing that all of your colleagues are doing at Sky Sports, with the exception probably of Keith Downey, maybe Pete Graves. I don't watch a lot of their new stuff anymore because it's got a fucking drivel. It's either them talking bollocks or they bring in a YouTuber who doesn't know a lot about Newcastle United, maybe does about Manchester United or Liverpool, but it was fuck all about Newcastle. And then they asked that person that question. And then I was watching the overlap not too long ago, the one that Kieran Maguire was on. Obviously, we did a bit with Kieran, love Kieran a bit. And there was no Newcastle fans on there whatsoever. They used to have Kendall on there. We love Kendall too. She's a friend of the channel. And they had the Gallagher Shots lads on, they're top lads as well. I don't see any Newcastle fans in the overlap anymore. What's going on with that Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher? Why no Newcastle fans? What's the situation there? Why aren't you talking to Newcastle fans? Last time I watched the overlap, haven't seen it. Last five times I watched it. Can't get my teeth right. Last few times I've watched it, I haven't seen Newcastle United fans. So something's wrong there, absolutely, when it comes to Sky Sports disparity of talking about other clubs. Going back to the situation, though, I've never in my entire life of supporting football have ever seen a media outlet try and sell a player from another football club more in my fucking life. I never have. Every single time they talk about Alexander Isak, they talk about how he'd be a great fit for Arsenal. Merson pips up with some cokehead ramblings or some shit like that. Troy Deeney and other media outlets comes out and says a load of bollocks like that. They're all coming out saying how Alexander Isak should leave Newcastle United. Fucking Teddy Sheringham and Gary Pallister talking about how he'd be great for Manchester United. It's not the fucking 90s anymore, boys. That ship has long since sailed. You couldn't even afford Isak. And why would he come to a dumpster fire like your shit football club anyway? I'm not going to even get started on your fucking stadium. I'll get myself in trouble. But going back to the point in question, Alexander Isak right now is a world-class centre forward, unless you're the Gollum-looking motherfucker Danny Murphy on Match of the Day who said he isn't world-class. He would be if he was playing for Liverpool, though, wouldn't he, Danny? Shut up, you fucking idiot. How he still gets paid by anyone is beyond me. He's the most dour, sour, miserable, clueless twat I've possibly ever seen, who would call himself a pundit. But anyway, going back to the main question in hand, Mark McAdam knew exactly what he was doing there. The camera came to him and he said, there's no surprise Arsenal fans covet this man so much. Nothing to do with Arsenal Football Club. That was a Southampton versus Newcastle United game. It was disrespectful that you went straight to the Arsenal tag. I understand the Thierry Henry comparisons. Of course, that's always going to happen with Alexander Isak, with the way he moves, the way he plays. That finish in particular was very Thierry Henry-esque, and I will give him a free pass on that one. But to go straight to the Arsenal narrative is just indicative of Sky Sports right now. People are paying a lot of money for that subscription, a lot of money in tough times where people are trying to consume football and getting charged through the fucking nose for it. And you're giving them absolutely nothing, no credence, no coverage, no respect of their football club and their star players. Marco Silva came out in the Fulham press conference and said, this isn't about Manchester United, this is about Fulham, when he was pressed by a journalist. And I think Sky Sports put that out thinking there'd be uproar about how Marco Silva had to go about it. But to the contrary, all the other fans said Marco Silva was absolutely bang on to do that as well. And I think this is a growing frustration from all the rest of the supporters in the Premier League. They're sick to death of the constant top six bias, the constant greedy six focus. I call them top six. Most of these clubs aren't even in the fucking top six. Man United are nowhere near. Spurs are down there pretty close to relegation than they are top four. But they still class them as the big six, is what they call them. And that's all Sky Sports talk about. All of their broadcast is generated, is pointed towards Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool. They don't give a fuck about anybody else. Even if another team is playing beforehand, we've said this so many times, the focus is always on one of those big six football clubs. Jamie Carragher came out the other day and said Manchester United and Liverpool will always be the biggest clubs in England for him. It doesn't matter what City and Chelsea do. And part of me kind of understands that from a heritage point of view, but times change, Jamie Carragher. I mean, Nottingham Forest were 2 times European Cup winners, spent years in the Championship. Leeds United are a huge football club, one of the biggest football clubs in the country in the Championship. Blackburn Rovers won the Premier League. Leicester City won the Premier League, relegated, spent time in the Championship. So you can't sit there and claim the glories of the past forevermore. You really, really can't. And for him to say that is pretty fucking sad, I think, for a so-called, media-leading pundit like him. But going back to the question at hand, Mark McAdam, I do feel a tiny little commodity of sympathy, only a tiny bit. Don't get mad in the comments, because I think he just got the brunt of it. He was the one who just flicked the match on the petrol and ignited the flames, because Newcastle fans have been putting up with Sky Sports' obsession with selling Alexander Isak for the last fucking 5 or 6 weeks. And it's getting beyond tedious, Sky. Move on to the next subject. Honest to God. I hope to God that Isak signs a contract. Shut all these fuckers up. I really do. Because I'm so sick and tired of hearing how he would be a great fit for another football club, and they don't even talk about how brilliant he's doing at Newcastle United. Him and Murphy, I think, have got the most goal involvements as a pair, way ahead of even, Cole Palmer and Jackson and Haaland and Bernardo Silva at Manchester City. But nobody talks about the service he's getting. Nobody talks about the midfield behind him. We saw that silly cow, Karen Carney, a few weeks back turn around and say that Newcastle will go no without Isak, just for then Paul Scholes to say, actually, Tonali, Bruno and Joe Linton are winning games because the midfield is so superior. So some of these pundits in the mainstream media are so uneducated, so lazy, and it's not a question of, of what channel they're on or their gender or whatever, who they used to play for. They just don't make an effort to do any research, look at the situation and talk about things from an impartial point of view. You're watching these things now, and it's just like watching Liverpool FC TV, Man United FC TV. It's pathetic. Sky are the worst culprits of them all, because in the heart of their organisation, I think at boardroom level as well, you've got Liverpool and Manchester United fans in their droves. And that's why the pundits that come in are always ex-Liverpool, Manchester United players. It doesn't matter if they're shite as a pundit or not. I mean, you got Daniel Sturridge thinking he's fucking Usher, and they still bring him back in because he's an ex-Liverpool player. That's just the way things go, in the world of Sky Sports punditry. But they're charging people a lot of money, and I don't think people are getting value for money. And this kind of obsession with focusing in on selling somebody's player rather than talking about how well he's doing for football club is absolutely fucking disgraceful. It really is. This thing's probably happened for years, but because of the world being the way it was, we never had to hear it. When Alan Shearer was playing for us and scored loads of goals, and if you went to a boozer in Manchester or London, they'd all be in there saying he should be playing for Arsenal, he should be playing for Manchester United. But we didn't hear that because the world wasn't as connected as it is right now. But there's a big reason why fans are turning to fan-led media with more impartiality than these drones in the mainstream media who may as well just work for the clubs that they represented as players. on the TV because they're not being impartial enough. They're not giving teams respect, like Newcastle United, like Fulham to Marco Silva in that press conference. And something needs to change because this top six bias from the mainstream media is getting beyond fucking tedious. But let us know in the comments below, guys, what you think about this ridiculous narrative this guy keep pushing out there. Again, I don't condone abuse for Mark McAdam, but he's got to wake up and smell the coffee. This live TV is live TV bullshit. I'm not buying Mark. You knew you shouldn't have let him with that line. You knew that was disrespectful to both Southampton and Newcastle United and to Alexander Isak as well. There was no fucking need for them to push your own narrative on the transfer show you're probably going to do next week, talking about why Alexander Isak would be a great fit for Arsenal as well. So you can't absolve yourself for full blame there. I understand his colleagues trying to stick up for him, but he's made a massive fucking mistake there. It's the straw that's brought the camel's back. Newcastle fans are sick of it. Other fans are sick of it. I'm sick of it. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think. We always like to hear from you. Smash a like, subscribe, help get us to the next milestone, which is 10K. We'd love you to do it. We'll be back with more content soon. Nice one. Keep it easy. I'll catch you later. Cheers. Bye.
Newcastle United 3.